The grand hall of the alien palace was silent, the air heavy with tension. The queen stood in the center, her eyes filled with tears. "No one wants my daughter as a mate," she cried out, her voice echoing through the vast room. The nobles gasped, and whispers ran like fire across the golden walls. Some covered their mouths in shock, others shook their heads in disbelief. How could anyone refuse the princess, the future queen of their world? The princess stood to the side, her face pale, her eyes downcast. She had always known she was different, but she never imagined that her difference would bring such shame. Her dress shimmered in the light, but even its brilliance could not hide the sadness in her heart. She looked at the court nervously, hoping someone, anyone, would understand, but the room was full of judgment, full of people who only saw her flaws. From the shadows near the palace doors, a figure watched quietly. The newcomer was tall, lean, and had a strange aura. Something about him was unusual, not like the aliens in the court. He came from a distant planet called Earth, and he was known as a prototype, a human designed for strength, intelligence, and courage. Yet here, among the high-born aliens, he felt out of place, as if everyone could see him as weak. He did not speak. He only observed, his eyes focused on the queen and her daughter. The court murmured, nobles pointing fingers at the princess. "She is too strange, too proud," one whispered. "No one will want her," said another. The queen's tears fell freely, and her hands shook. "Why does fate treat her so cruelly?" she asked. Her voice was broken, but it carried through the hall like thunder. Everyone felt the weight of her despair, even those who tried to hide it. The princess took a deep breath, trying to hold her composure. She had been trained to appear strong, to hide her emotions. But today was different. Today, the world seemed against her, and she felt smaller than ever before. She glanced at the strange human standing at the back of the hall. There was something in his eyes, a calmness, a confidence that no one else had. He did not laugh or whisper, he did not look away, he simply watched, waiting, as if he already knew what had to be done. The queen looked around, her voice rising with desperation. "Is there truly no one who will stand by my daughter?" she shouted. Her words hung in the air, heavy and painful. The nobles avoided eye contact, some pretending to search for an answer, some shook their heads and whispered, "It is impossible." The princess's heart sank further, and she feared that her life would be filled with rejection and loneliness. Suddenly, a small stir moved through the hall. Eyes turned toward the newcomer, who stepped forward slowly. His presence was calm but commanding. He did not speak yet, but everyone could feel his determination. A tense silence fell over the room, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. The queen's eyes widened, and the princess looked up, hope and fear mixed in her gaze. Could this stranger, this human from Earth, actually change her destiny? The human stopped a few steps away from the queen, his posture straight, his eyes steady. The court waited, unsure what would happen next. Some smirked, expecting ridicule, others leaned forward, curiosity overcoming doubt. The queen's voice trembled. "Who are you to step forward?" she demanded. Her tone was a mix of anger and disbelief. The human looked at her calmly, and with a steady voice said, "I am from Earth, and I understand your daughter better than anyone else can." A murmur ran through the hall. Nobles whispered, "A human? From Earth?" Some laughed softly, some frowned in confusion. The queen's gaze sharpened. Her tears had not yet dried, but her attention was now fixed on this strange human. Something about him felt different, something she could not ignore. The princess's heart skipped a beat. Could this be the moment that changed everything? The hall was silent, all eyes fixed on the human who had stepped forward. The queen's hands trembled as she tried to comprehend his words. "You understand my daughter?" she asked, disbelief and anger mixed in her voice. The human nodded calmly. "Yes, your majesty, I do," he said. His voice was steady, but there was a quiet strength in it that made some nobles uneasy. Whispers ran through the court. "A human? From Earth? Who does he think he is?" One noble muttered, another laughed softly. "No human can match our ways, no human can change destiny." The princess watched him closely, hope stirring in her chest. She had never seen anyone speak so boldly to the court. She wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, this stranger could help her. The queen's eyes narrowed, suspicion written on her face. "You are a stranger, and yet you claim to understand her. What makes you think you can?" she demanded. The human did not bow or beg, he only stepped forward. "I do not ask for your trust, only the chance to show that humans have abilities no one expects," he said. His words were simple, but they carried weight. Some nobles frowned, others leaned forward in curiosity. The room buzzed with tension. The court laughed mockingly, pointing at him. "Look at him. A weak human. He cannot possibly help her," shouted one noble. Another added, "Do you not see how strange he is? He is not one of us." But the human's expression did not change. He did not retreat. He simply looked at the queen and the princess, and waited. His calmness felt almost like a challenge, as if he was saying, "I will prove it." The queen sighed, her anger mixing with confusion. She could not understand why this human dared to challenge the court, why he dared to step forward when all others had stayed silent. The princess moved closer to the queen. "Mother, perhaps he can help," she whispered softly. Her voice shook, but there was a glimmer of hope. The queen glanced at her daughter, then at the human, her heart still heavy, but a thought had begun to form. Could it be that humans, despite being different, held something no alien could see? The human took another step, closer to the queen. "I am ready to face any challenge you give me. I will show that humans are not weak. We have strength, courage, and wisdom that can surprise even the most powerful." His words hung in the air, the room holding its breath. The nobles exchanged uneasy glances. Some began to whisper quietly among themselves. Could this human truly be different? Could he succeed where others failed? The queen looked at him, her expression hard, yet her mind raced. She had seen pride and arrogance in many nobles. But something about him was not arrogance, it was confidence. Yes, but also respect. He did not insult, he did not boast, he simply believed he could help. The princess's eyes filled with hope. She wanted to trust him, she wanted to believe in him. She could feel that this human was unlike anyone she had ever met. Suddenly, the queen raised her hand, calling for silence. "Very well," she said, her voice echoing through the hall. "If you truly claim to understand my daughter, then you must prove it. You will face the trials of the court, the tests no human has ever survived. If you succeed, then perhaps you will earn your place." The human bowed slightly. "I accept," he said, calm and certain. The court gasped. Whispers grew louder. Some laughed, others frowned. The challenge had begun, and the fate of the princess and the human now hung in the balance. The princess watched him, her heart racing. She felt a mixture of fear and excitement. Could he really succeed? Could this human from Earth truly change her destiny? The hall was tense, every eye fixed on the human as he prepared to face the impossible. The first step had been taken, and now, the real test was about to begin. The hall grew quiet as the queen signaled the start of the trials. The nobles leaned forward in anticipation, eager to see the human fail. The princess held her breath, hope and fear battling in her heart. The first trial was announced, a test of strength. "You must lift the golden gate of the palace with your own hands," the queen said. Her voice carried the weight of authority, and the nobles snickered, thinking the human could never succeed. The human stepped forward, his eyes calm and focused. He did not hesitate, nor did he show fear. He placed his hands on the gate, feeling the cold metal under his fingers. The nobles laughed loudly. "Look at him. He will never lift it," they shouted. But the human took a deep breath, and with a sudden push, the massive gate began to move, slowly at first, then faster, until it swung open completely. The hall gasped, and the princess's eyes widened. She had never seen anything like it. Some nobles whispered among themselves, "Impossible, how can a human be this strong?" Others shook their heads in disbelief, unable to understand. The queen's eyes narrowed, surprise mixed with suspicion. She had never expected a human to show such strength, but she was not yet convinced. The trials were only beginning, and the hardest test still awaited. The second trial was a test of intelligence. The human was given a puzzle of intricate alien symbols. Many in the court had tried and failed. Some even gave up, saying the puzzle was impossible. The human studied the symbols carefully, his mind working quickly. He noticed patterns, connections that no one else could see. Slowly, he moved the pieces into place. One by one, the puzzle solved itself under his hands. The hall erupted in murmurs of shock. "How can he see what we cannot?" some asked. The princess could not hide her amazement, her hope growing stronger. The third trial was a test of courage. The human was led to a dark cavern beneath the palace. The walls glowed with alien energy, strange creatures moving in the shadows. The nobles shook their heads, whispering, "No human can survive this." But the human stepped forward without hesitation. His footsteps were steady, his heart calm. He faced the creatures without fear, using his wits and agility to navigate the dangers. One by one, he overcame the obstacles, reaching the end of the cavern. Victorious. The court was silent, stunned by what they had witnessed. Even the queen felt a shiver of surprise. Her daughter watched him with wide eyes, admiration and awe filling her heart. She had never imagined that a human could face these trials and succeed. The nobles, who had mocked him earlier, now looked at him with respect and fear. They began to whisper, "Perhaps humans are stronger than we thought." Finally, the human returned to the hall, his face calm, his posture strong. He had passed all the trials, and yet he showed no arrogance. He bowed slightly to the queen and the princess, a gesture of respect. The princess's heart swelled with hope. She could see that this human was not only strong and smart but also kind, brave, and honorable, qualities that no test could measure. The Queen's voice broke the silence. You have survived trials that none of my court could. You have proven that humans possess strength, courage, and intelligence beyond expectation. But do not think the court will accept you easily, she said. Her tone was stern, but there was a hint of respect. The human nodded, ready for whatever challenge might come next. His eyes met the princess's, and in that glance, she saw a promise that her destiny, and perhaps the destiny of humans in this alien world, was about to change. The hall was tense, every noble's eyes fixed on the human who had passed the impossible trials. Even the Queen felt her heart quicken. Something about him was beyond ordinary. She studied him carefully, her mind racing. Could it be true that a human from Earth was capable of such feats? The human stood tall, calm and composed. His eyes met the princess's, and she felt a wave of hope. She had never seen anyone so strong, so clever, yet so humble. The nobles whispered among themselves, some in fear, some in awe. He has succeeded where no one else could, one said quietly. Another muttered, could humans really be this powerful? The Queen took a deep breath, trying to keep her composure. She had always believed that her court was unmatched, that no outsider could ever challenge her authority. Yet here was proof that she might have been wrong. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke. You have passed every trial, human, but tell me, what makes you so different? Why can you do what no other being can? The human bowed slightly, then looked up with calm eyes. Your Majesty, I am a human from Earth, he said. I am a prototype designed to survive, to learn, to overcome. I carry the strength, intelligence, and courage of my people. His words hung in the hall, and the court fell silent. Nobles stared, mouths open in shock. Some could not believe what they were hearing. A murmur ran through the hall, spreading like wildfire. A human? A prototype? One noble whispered, another shook his head. Impossible, how can a human surpass us? The Queen's eyes widened, realization dawning upon her. Could it be that humans, long underestimated, held power far beyond what she imagined? The princess stepped closer to the human, her eyes shining. I knew there was something special about you, she said softly. You are not like anyone I have ever met. You are remarkable. The human smiled faintly, not with pride, but with understanding. I only wish to help, to stand with you, and to show that humans can make a difference, he said. His words carried sincerity that no one could ignore. The nobles began to react, some with fear, some with admiration. If humans are like this, what does it mean for us? One noble asked nervously, another whispered. Perhaps we have judged them wrongly all along. The Queen's expression softened slightly, respect mingling with disbelief. She realized that this human was more than just a stranger. He was proof that the universe underestimated humanity. The human's presence seemed to shift the energy in the hall. Even the harshest critics could not deny what they had seen. He had faced impossible trials and triumphed. He had shown courage, intelligence, and strength that surpassed the expectations of all. The princess's hope grew. She finally believed that her destiny could change, that she could choose freely, with someone who truly understood her. The Queen raised her hand, calling for silence. It seems, humans are not as weak as we thought, she admitted. Her voice was quiet, but it carried across the hall. This one has shown courage and wisdom. He may be the key to changing more than just the fate of my daughter. The human bowed again, humble but confident. The court watched in awe, whispers turning into quiet respect. The princess's heart raced. She looked at the human and smiled. A bond had begun, a connection that would challenge the court's beliefs. And as the nobles slowly began to acknowledge the human's power, the seeds of a new future were planted. One where humans were no longer underestimated, one where courage and strength could change destiny. The hall was filled with whispers, the nobles still trying to understand what had just happened. The human from Earth had proven himself in every trial, and even the Queen could not deny his strength and courage. The princess watched him with wide eyes, hope shining brightly in her heart. She felt that her life was about to change forever. The Queen stepped forward, her expression serious, yet tinged with respect. You have shown courage, intelligence, and strength beyond anything we have seen. You have faced trials that none of my court could survive. You have proven that humans can be more than we ever imagined, she said. Her words carried across the hall, and the nobles listened in stunned silence. Some nobles began to murmur, whispers of admiration mixed with disbelief. A human, stronger than us? Smarter than we expected? They asked one another. The court slowly began to acknowledge what they had once mocked. The princess's smile grew. She looked at the human and knew that he was not just a hero, but someone who could change the future. The Queen turned to her daughter. My daughter, you may choose now, she said, her voice calm but firm. The princess's eyes glistened. She had been afraid, rejected, and alone. But now, She saw someone who understood her, someone who could stand beside her. She took a deep breath, her heart beating fast, and stepped closer to the human. "You have shown me bravery, wisdom, and kindness," she said softly. "You understand me in a way no one else ever could. I choose you." The hall went silent for a moment, then a wave of gasps and whispers spread among the nobles. Some were shocked, others impressed, but none could deny the truth of her words. The human bowed his head respectfully, a gentle smile on his face. "I am honored," he said simply. "I will stand with you and protect you. We will face the future together." The princess's heart filled with joy. She had found someone who believed in her, someone who had changed the fate that seemed set in stone. The queen looked at them both, a small smile forming on her lips. "It seems that humans are not to be underestimated," she said quietly. Her voice carried both pride and surprise. The nobles slowly began to bow in respect, acknowledging the human as a hero and a worthy partner for the princess. Some still whispered, but the doubt in their eyes had changed into awe. The human turned to the princess, and together, they walked through the grand hall, heads held high. Every step they took symbolized a new beginning, not just for them, but for humans and aliens alike. The court watched in wonder, realizing that the universe could no longer dismiss Earth's people as weak or unimportant. Outside the palace, the sun was setting, casting golden light over the kingdom. The princess and the human stood together, looking toward the horizon. A future of adventure, challenge, and hope awaited them. They had changed destiny, proving that courage, strength, and wisdom were not limited to one world. And as the stars began to shine above, the princess whispered softly, "Thank you for believing in me." The human smiled. It was never about belief alone, it was about showing the truth of what humans can do. Together, they faced the coming days with confidence. The kingdom had seen the power of humans, and nothing would ever be the same again.